Hi, my name is Anna Alex, and I'm excited to speak here today to speak about net zero and ESG reporting and how to develop a tech based strategy. I'm the founder of a company called Planetly, and we have been recently acquired by OneTrust. And together with the Planetly and the OneTrust solution, we can now offer a holistic carbon accounting and ESG reporting to our customers. But today, I actually don't just want to talk about how great our software is and how great our features are that we offer our customers and how we make the lives easier for sustainability officers and CFOs. But I actually want to talk about where I see that we are standing in history when it comes to sustainability and ESG metrics, where we're coming from, where we are currently, and where we are going to. And I think this is relevant for actually everyone who likes to shape the business world of tomorrow. So let us jump right in. I believe we're standing in front of the biggest transformation the whole economy has ever went through. And this is the sustainability transformation. It will change everything how business is done today. It will change how we are sourcing our products, how we are attracting talent, how we are marketing our products to customers, and it will as well change how we are raising money. And it's not just carbon that is playing a very relevant part in that. Carbon, due to the urgency and in the world, is playing kind of a very prominent part in this. But I believe it is as well the rest of the ESG metrics that are very, very relevant for companies going forward. So the whole spectrum of the environmental, social, and governance metrics. So, but how did we get here and where are we coming from? What I see are actually three different eras, kind of. We're coming from an age of blindness where we have been closing our eyes on all the truths and the things that scientists have told us. We are then currently in the age of realization, realizing that we need to change the things at a massive scale, how we're doing business. And we're entering an age of action that we see in the future. So I will allude now on these three ages over the coming slides. Starting with the age of blindness. So it has already been over 100 years ago that the first scientists told us that the way that we're running our world and our businesses is simply not sustainable. It has been already in the 19th century that the effect of fossil fuels become obvious, what we now today call the greenhouse gas effect. And already as well in 1963, there was the Equal Pay Act that was signed to address the wage differences based on gender. So paying women less for the same jobs became illegal. And then moving on to 1988, this was when the IPCC was founded, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The IPCC plays a critical role today as they are taking all the findings of surveys on the climate change and bringing it all together to give us really a clear status quo of where we are standing as a world. Then 7 years later, the famous concept of the triple bottom line was published. And it takes environmental metrics and social impact as much as it takes into account the financial impact of the company. And this is a basic concept that I think is very, very important and will shape the world going forward massively. Then in 2015, the Paris Agreement was signed. So that was the time when we had a clear and a formulated goal as a world community. And still, not much changed. And it needed a small Swedish girl sitting in front of the Swedish parliament and protesting there in 2018 until the world finally turned their attention to all the mess that we are creating here. So coming from this age of blindness, we actually see the age of realization really kicking in. And we see that CEOs and C-levels around the world understood that we cannot manage what we cannot measure. So in order to really manage your sustainability activities, we need to get a grip on it. We need to measure it. We need to treat it with the same diligence and rigor like we are treating our financial KPIs. And I strongly believe that we business people have a very, very essential skill in this, because we're used to looking at abstract numbers and then act accordingly. And this is exactly what we need now in order to tackle the climate crisis. But there was a big problem that there was actually no good solution available out there. I encountered that firsthand when I wanted to measure the carbon footprint and the ESG metrics of my former company. I couldn't find any good software solution. And in the end, I needed to work with a consultant who ran around the company with his Excel sheet, trying to get all this data, and handed over a PDF report to us and said, like, this is your sustainability profile. And it was not at all insightful. It was done only once per year. It was just looking backwards. It came at very, very high costs and was very work intense. And seeing that left me with an idea. And this is why 3 years ago, my co-founder and I, we started Planetly. And now with Planetly's carbon accounting solution, together with the OneTrust ESG program management, we have really built the first fully integrated ESG and sustainability cloud for businesses. And that makes me very proud. So it consists of the first part, which is the ESG program management, which lets you as a business really identify what are the important metrics for me that I want to track from the whole ESG spectrum. Then the second pillar is the carbon management, where we really go deep into all the greenhouse gases that are tracked according to the greenhouse gas protocol. The third pillar is the investor portfolio management, which let you as investor take a closer look on your portfolio companies. Because as investor, you should know that the carbon footprint of your portfolio is part of your carbon footprint. And the fourth one is a supplier sustainability and responsibility module, which really let you dive deep into your supply chain and track how your suppliers are acting from a sustainability and responsibility angle. So what we've created here is a solution that really lets you centralize all ESG and sustainability data, let you auto-populate reports across frameworks and ratings, and let you track all these metrics in an automated, very highly automated way. Let you monitor the progress that you're doing in real-time dashboards. So away or gone are the times when we're just looking at it like once per year, just looking backwards. We want to have it real time. We want to see it. We want to measure our progress. We want to see if we are moving into the right direction. And we want to create this transparency and give this transparency to our employees, to our stakeholders, to the outside world about your company's sustainability. And this is highly needed because what we really see in the world is a mass realization of CEOs and C-levels out there. And they realize that it don't just make sense for the world and the right thing to do for the planet, but it is as well the right thing to do for the business. Why is that so? So the first aspect here are the employees. It's 70% of the employees who are more likely to work in a company with a strong ESG focus. And the second is the consumers. So it is 58% of the consumers who would be more loyal to a brand that is committed to the ESG factors. And then it's as well the business partners. 80% are asked to sign a CSR clause. And it's well the investors. 44% of the investors are saying they will divest from assets which do not have a strong ESG focus and the ESG reporting in place. And lastly, it is as well the regulators. So there are massive regulations coming our way. I'm coming back to that point in a second. So first, let's look at the other points before moving into the regulation space. So the good news is that companies which are engaging early in the sustainability transformation are benefiting from this a lot. And it's a little bit like in the digital transformation. The first movers have a really high advantage. The earlier you start, the better you get, the more of the benefits on these other aspects that I just alluded to, you get as a brand and as a company. So I think it is fair to say and to draw the parallels here to the digital transformation where we've seen exactly the same thing. And in the end, every business needs to ultimately do their sustainability reporting anyway. So what you see here are all the regulations which are currently coming into play and are kicking in. And it is the much quoted alphabet soup currently where you say like, wow, wait a second, what is now relevant for me here? What is not? In the end, it is all pushing forward, really, the sustainability reporting practices. And in a few years from now, it will be as common as the financial reporting practices. You will have found your framework. We are here to help you. We are here to guide you through this regulation jungle and through this alphabet soup. And so having said that, so it is in the end, any business will act on this anyhow. So you should better start now and really benefit from all the advantages that companies which are moving early are benefiting from. So let me come to an end. And I think it's no surprise that I believe that the Google CEO is right when he says that companies that fail to go carbon free will lose the war of talents. But I believe he is missing one important point, though. It's not just the carbon. It is as well a lot of other factors on the whole ESG spectrum that are highly relevant. And it is all interconnected, the social issues, the governmental practices within the companies. Climate change is a huge social topic, for example. Developing countries will suffer much more from the climate crisis as developed countries. Women will suffer much more from the climate crisis. And companies with good governance practices are much more likely to outperform their peers in their sustainability performance. So a solid ESG strategy really looks at all these different factors, business ethics, labor practices, human rights, just to name a few. And it is, in the end, everything is ESG, and ESG is feeding into the trust and how trusted as a company you are. So all of these factors together actually bring me to the belief that from here on, we're entering the next age, which is the age of action. And it is a world where empty words and commitments are not enough anymore. Companies will be judged on their actions and the performance and the sustainability and ESG KPIs. Good governance is judged by your stakeholders, which are your employees and your customers and your shareholders. And this is a fundamental shift versus how good governance has been judged in the past. companies will be directly judged by all their stakeholders, which includes all of these. And this is why ESG and sustainability is going to be the most important KPI of our generation. And to back these words up with a few numbers, we have seen a massive shift towards sustainable investments and a massive money flowing into that space. So it has been 32 billion that have been invested in climate tech in 21, and this is much more than any investments into an AI, for example, have been made. And we see 30 trillion US dollar of global sustainable investments, so investments with a strong ESG focus. And this is said to be a balloon to over 50 trillion US dollar over the next years. So you see a really massive money flowing into that space. You see a massive rethinking among the employees, the customers, and accordingly as well among the CEOs and C-levels and boards in the business world. So we are trusted already by over 200 sustainability leaders, and it makes me very proud to work with such great companies and accompany such great companies on their way. So ESG metrics are the most important KPIs of our time, and it's in our hand to do it right. So let's do it right. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much for being part of this transformation. That is very exciting, and we are holding it in our hands to manage it right. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn or drop me an email or visit the OneTrust website. And I'm looking forward to speak with you soon. Thank you.